You can read that in the book of the Hopi where Paquime wasn't doing what they were supposed to be doing. Their clan migration, putting spiritual roots in the ground. So this is a ceremonial blanket that we're supposed to be weaving as we do our clan migration by moving off and not getting rich. And you can see it's frayed there. There's not that much weft and weave compared to the earlier videos that we did around BLM sign 1 and 2 and 3 with the Hopi rule of life. So that symbolizes that we're not doing what we need to do. And so we're supposed to be doing our clan migrations, and that vertical footprint symbolizes how we're supposed to pick up and go and do something. So, but right here, you kind of see we're not doing anything. We're sitting in one place. I'm not sure what that symbol means, but it's right next to these here. So the people are raising parrots at Paquime. In Spider Clan, now the Hopi are very knowledgeable people about Paquime, and they say that when Paquime was destroyed, it was Spider Clan, and that's Spider Clan there. That's the face of a spider, and that terrace is Paquime, a city, a pyramid, and terraced buildings. The Mayan Aztec all use it for dwellings. And that's the corn plant there. And you see the arrows in his shoulders. This is a Spider Clan attacking the people in the cornfield. Now there's some kind of symbol here, right there, that goes to the bottom of the temple there. And whether that's Coyote Clan or what, I'm not sure. But at any rate, we know it's Paquime by that, and the fact that the Hopi say that Spider Clan, the people, attacked the people in the cornfield. And these dots down here might symbolize a waffle board. As they planted their corn like 4 or 8 feet apart. Looks like a waffle board. So that's Spider Clan attacking Paquime. And what happens right in here is just a whole bunch of petrolists talking about how Paquime was destroyed by Bear Clan of the Hopi people. And but there's no bird tracks out here. So we know the story ends right here. So what happens is you read all these and you kind of get the general idea what's going on. And when you see Spider Clan in the cornfield, and you know the Hopi histories, you know it's Spider Clan attacking Paquime or Paquime, the mysterious red city of the south. And so we would expect a lot of these X's here for warfare. And then again, there's a Spider Clan there and all these rocks here. And we see the bighorn sheep here again. And his body is like ephemeral. Another arrow here, arrowhead right here. Again, violence. Now we really don't have any arrows coming this way. This looks like arrowheads coming down on top of, and we see a human being right here, and he's strong, but he's doing nothing. That would be the people in the village, in the cornfield. They're strong. There's like 2,000 to 3,000 people there, but they're weak. They're not doing anything because they probably don't have their bows and arrows out in the cornfield. And nobody ever attacked that side of a Pueblo before, so it was unprecedented, the attack at Paquime. And then you see a whole lot of arrows, bows and arrows here, that being a fletched arrow there, and that being a bow that's drawn or fletched. And we see where these guys are not doing anything, but the arrows are coming down on them. The people were there tethered in their village and weak. You see the horns down on that bird. So, and then you see that footprint coming down onto the people there, on top of the people there. So that would be Spider Clan descending down from on the side of the cornfield. Now we expect the cornfield to be in the Rio Costa's gone these river valleys, so not too far from Paquime. So what happens is they attack Paquime. Hopi Spider Clan does, because if you read the book of the Hopi, the 29 Hopi elders in the 50s and 60s told Frank Walter that they wouldn't let the Spider Clan live there because they were a contentious clan, troublemakers. So they couldn't live there. So what happened was Spider Clan attacked the Hopi people, and you see them little rock spalls in the middle of that big orange sheep. That's the people getting destroyed by Spider Clan, and rain of destruction is coming down on them right here. You see that symbol there, and then the same thing here. And then when you get over here, you actually see them decapitated. The Hopi people are decapitated. Long-tailed deer people are decapitated. And the center place, that right there symbol, the first place you see that is on the Sipapu on West Knoll over here. And now you see it here. And then you see that T-shaped door, Mawingwa, Alasaka, right there. And they're blocked, they're bored, and they're getting destroyed. Decapitation. And you'll notice that rock spall has been there forever. So they intentionally placed that there to symbolize decapitation of the people there. And you have this little symbol here. Probably the long-tailed deer again. Now, the Hopi say that the Parrot Clan and Bear Clan ruled it, and they were the mother and father clan of the Hopi people. And that's what we see here is a parrot with his legs like he's hanging like a strangled chicken, a choked chicken like symbol there. And then this is the only panel we have of the twins right here, and that's a spider, and that's the deer there, the twins riding the deer, the notched ladder they had at Paquime, and the people being destroyed at Paquime, symbolized by the deer. So, real intense story. This is one of my favorite chapters on this whole site because it's really intense. You see the X there for warfare, and these people are migrating away. You see the footprint there. The Parrot Clan is migrating away. They were caught unaware, weak. Now, when you're strong, your horns are up, your ears are up. You mess with the bull, you get the horn, you know. So when your horns are down, your ears are down, you're weak. And that's what happened to these guys. The Spider Clan came down on top of them pretty fast. And I'm pretty sure the battle waged for several days. It was a big battle, and you can kind of see how big of a battle it is. That's the biggest shield, and the X symbolizes warfare, two arrowheads meeting head on. So, and that's in a lot of cultures in North America, that's assumed for warfare. Now, the bird is used here for take flight to safety away from Paquime. So they're going to be fleeing Paquime, trying to get away from Spider Clan. And the Hopis say, in the book of the Hopi by Frank Walter, that the Hopi elders told him that that Spider Clan was around the village killing people, and they waited till nighttime to escape. And you see that lunate, that symbolizes the moon, and these people crawling up out of going somewhere. So what happened is, this is a escape tunnel that they talk about. That's the mound of dirt, and that's a hole in that mound, and that's the hole that they escaped in. And you kind of see a bird track here, and that's through the middle of something open or hollow that be there, holding one place. So, and you see a trail going off that line there. So this is a people escaping Paquime at nighttime, leaving Paquime to escape from the horrible attack from Spider Clan that ended up killing a lot of people. Now, Charles E. Paso excavated Paquime from 1959 to 1961, and I got to meet De Paso. But if you'll see, that's the escape tunnel there. On the other side, you have this hole, this dot here, and this square right here with feet right here. That's them escaping out of the escape tunnel. And you can see it's a basin or a bowl that they're crawling in. And then they escape out of it to the opposite side of the hill or the mountain. And you kind of see that hole there is this hole here. And when they come out, what happens is, this is Parrot Clan here. And when you get over here, you'll see a hole in the rock. So this is, we're actually going underneath it. We're recreating the tunnel here. And when we come out, you'll see that hole in the rock right here. And that covering there. So this is where the Hopi people escaped out of that tunnel from Paquime. And then they headed south. According to this, they headed south. Now, when you get up here, you see that big shield up there and the people fleeing. And they're coming out of this escape tunnel here. Let me get down here a little bit and we'll look at it from this direction here. So, if you're sitting here during the Battle of Paquime, on this end, this is the end of the escape tunnel, and the people will be coming out of this hole right here from up there. And then they're fleeing. Now, if you read LeVan Martineau, the Rocks Begin to Speak, and he's my mentor. He's the one that taught me how to read petroglyphs. You'll see that that's the shield, that's warfare. That V is open space. He talks about the bird taking flight to safety. And you'll see where it's going uphill. There's a terrace there, nothing there taken away. So that's Paquime getting destroyed. And we know that because it's a big battle. We have the escape tunnel here. We have the spider up there with the corn plant. Up here we have Tiwahamba butchering the deer after Paquime are destroyed. But as we get up here, we'll see Hihuwuthi associated with this big cross here and the bird. Now, Hihuwuthi is in the Book of the Hopi. She fought so hard her tongue was hanging out. And you see her right there. So, according to the Hopi oral traditions, she was putting her hair up, putting her makeup on her hair, and she heard Spider Clan killing people outside, so she grabbed her bows and arrows and fought so hard, her tongue hang out, and you see her tongue hanging out there. Now they still honor Hihuwuthi, the female warrior Paquime Plakopi, and they make kachinas out of her, and they have that tongue hanging out. So we see the bird track here that led from the story this way. So this is all the Battle of Paquime, and then fleeing Paquime. And the story goes that the twins on this site here escaped. Their mom and dad settled at Palaka, Sequilki, Hopi First Mesa, Flower Butte, they called it then, and that's in the Book of Hopi also. And they thought their kids were dead, but after they settled there, the twins came home, or reunited with their parents. And there's two ways that happened. The Hopi oral traditions, stories say that this ceremonial deer, they made a leg bone out of it, and that's a mochni, supposedly. And that's how the Hopis got to be called Mokis, after the mochni, the All-Clan people that the Rio Grande people called them. Now, there's a Pueblo there by Acoma, between Acoma and Los Lunas, built in the shape of this boy riding a deer, and the outer wall has Saktu Nangu, a conical headdress. So, Saktu Nangu intervened and gave Tiwahamba a ride back on his Wawupa, his magic machine, And then the other story is the ceremonial deer gave him a ride back on his back, reunited with their parents. So uh, this site here has both versions of how Paquime was destroyed by Balonga and by Spider Clan, and then it has both versions of the twins being saved by a ceremonial deer and the twins being saved by Saltunega. So the deer being butchered here, he with his tongue hanging out, the escape tunnel, the proper clans, Bear and Parrot clan, all with Spider Clan up here in the cornfield. All these things are determinative to help you read the story, and that's what we're doing here. Now, this boulder here leaning precariously, just like the boulder over there is leaning precariously, and they both have the kachina on it. And then you see that big old boulder there, right there with the white in the middle of the screen. That's where the kachina is with the decapitated head. So all these kachinas are leaning precariously. They're all like synonyms. They all mean the same thing. The kachinas were killed at Paquime. Now, you can't kill a kachina because they're spirits, but they chose to leave us at Paquime and go, they say, to the Milky Way. So whoever was helping these guys had advanced knowledge with astronomy and probably prophecy too, from what we're seeing. Now, sometimes the little twin sister is expressed as a kikwelt, a little fledgling parrot, and then that's the Tiwahumba there. And they don't have their burden basket there, so they don't have any groceries yet. Now, that's the early kachina there, and there's warfare there. And the kachinas were attacked at Paquime. And suppose they crawled in a crack or a cave to hide from Spider Clan that was murdering everybody. And they hid there, but Spider Clan found them anyway and killed them, ceremonially killed them. And that might be the center place there, that little symbol there. But when we get down here, we can see exactly how that is right here. The symbol in the center of this kachina is in Levan Martineau's book. You see them 3 lines there? The middle line means going in the middle of, and these other lines is something hollow. So that's the crevice they crawled in, trying to hide from Spider Clan, but they were killed anyway. That horn or ear down on the kachina, and just one side tells it was killed, or they were killed by Spider Clan, ceremonial killed. And that's in the book of Hopi. The story reads, as we read it, this way. And this hooks up back to the Grand Central Station down here. Been talking for 30 or 40 minutes, my mouth gets dry. So the story goes south again. The Sam Hill cluster does the same thing. It gets on the west side of the knoll, that being the Sam Hill cluster by the rest area, and it goes south and wraps around the knoll there and turns back on itself at the saddle that separates the Battle of Paquime cluster from the Sam Hill cluster. So we know the story goes this way because the kachinas are killed running out. This is Spider Clan again. We can tell by his feet here and its face. And then you see the arrows on its head right there? That's symbol. The Spider Clan brought warfare to these people, and that's the cornfield right here. I was hoping we'd have a little sun this evening, but it's getting hot now and humid. So that's Spider Clan there, and that's the cornfield again. So the people are fleeing. Again, the long-tailed deer right here, and bighorn sheep, that's the people fleeing, and you can kind of see that they're being pretty much tore up on their posterior. They're getting a good thrashing, their butt kicked, pretty much. So a lot of them are dead. They're toppled over sideways. We know the Hopi say that the Eagle Clan fought rearguard action. You see the Eagle Clan looking back at Spider Clan in the cornfield right here, symbol, the panel. So that's Eagle Clan trying to keep Spider Clan off the people while they escape the women and children. And Huufi's out there in the middle of the fight too. This is the notched or the socketed ladders that people are on trying to get out of the Pueblo and leave. And you see the bird tracks there, that's fleeing. You see that X there, the little checkerboard, that's the destruction of Paquime. And the people leaving, the deer especially in Hopi, they're Chihoy. I don't know if I pronounced it right, but it means the twins. And the deer always more or less have twins, so the deer and the twins are always synonymous. So this is the people being destroyed at Paquime. And then you see a footprint right there on the rock. That's the people leaving Paquime after, while Eagle Clan is fighting the rear guard action. And these bird tracks here, the double bird tracks, and this, and these rock spalls here, that's the destruction of Paquime and the people fleeing from there. And the twins end up probably around the Rio Grande River Valley, and ultimately they reunite with their parents. And the story kind of just folds out right here. And you see the first bird track here when you come off, and then another one here and here. So what happens is you end up hitting these bird tracks after you read the story this way. And these bird tracks leads you right to the tool reed, place of the dead bear, and then Water Clan appending their story of the serpent destroying it ball along. And then the bird tracks go along up till about as far as you can see the Jolly Sun, and then they go down off this knoll here, and then pretty much on the bottom of the knoll is where there's a subcluster there, what I call the spider subcluster, and we read that one the other day. So the bird tracks are basically leading us south after you read all these petroglyphs. Now, what you have to do here is acknowledge that before you read any of these, that you have to keep going backtracking. The backtrack, these footprints, these double bird tracks here that lead up, that come through here and go this way. So we see them here and then down here in my shadow, and then more that way. And they continue through here, and they go pretty much in this saddle here, and then there's a big gap of no bird tracks, double bird tracks. But you talk about the Grand Canyon Sipapu in here, and the bird tracks start south to Pueblo Bonito, and then Paquime end up Paquime here. And we know that is what Steve Lexon knows, the Chaco Meridian. So we know that this would be the Chaco Meridian here. But Steve Lexon don't know what happened after Paquime was destroyed by Spider Clan. And that story is told here, where they kill the deer, butcher it, and they're reunited with their parents at Polaca, Hopi First Mesa. So Steve Lexington was brilliant finding out that the Anasazi became into the Mogollon, and Joe Benoit and Emil Howry both knew that the Mogollon ceased to exist after 1000 AD, because these were all the Anasazi and the Mogollon were ancestral Hopi. And after 1000 AD, even the archaeologists can't define the Mogollon because it's so much Anasazi. And it's because the Anasazi moved down here, like 70,000 of them, from the San Juan Basin and edge of the Cedars all the way down from the San Juan north down here at 1250 AD. And that's why when Joe Ben and other archaeologists walk all over the Turosa Basin, we find Chupaderos, Three Rivers Red on terracotta, and brown wearers, and we don't find a lot of sites with members black on white or mogollon red on brown or mogollon red on whatever. No three circles and no San Lorenzo wearers. So I assume that we have with Socorro black on white looking just like Gallup black on white, which is what they used at Chalco more than anything. It took 100 years to get the Socorro black on white, like 11,050. Then 1150, the Chupadero was in the Turosa Basin. So when Chalco collapsed, it started a land rush into the Turosa Basin and all of southern New Mexico. And Aztec was settled until 1250. So after 1250, the people moved down here in mass, and everybody knew about Paquime, the splendor, the wealth, the vice, and how it was destroyed. Now, that was a big part of Three Rivers, is why Paquime was destroyed and how it was destroyed. And they wanted to get that story down here, written, sequestered, and before they left. Now, I think Spiders, that Sun Clan had a lot to do with writing these rocks here. And the Parrot and Bear Clan were responsible for Paquime and Aztec and Pueblo and the dynasty there. Now, when you get here in the Sam Hill cluster, this is the south end here, and we're just getting in it from that saddle there where BLM 11, 10, and 11 are. And we see a mass migration there. But we have both clan versions here, just a redundancy of where, like in this panel here, where we see Spider Clan with bows and arrows killing people. Right next to Spider Clan, right here, attacking. And again, the hand, the boy's hand in the grave and the serpent coming out of the grave. And then we have Spider Clan here, abbreviated version. And then we have another bottle on it coming out of the boy's grave here. So, side by side, we have both versions of Paquime's demise. Now, right down here, we start seeing the Chaco Canyon, Sipapu, and Bear and Parrot Clan heading south with Coyote Clan and the Kachina people, and coming that way, and then ending up right on the other side of this Battle of Paquime knoll with the Grand Central Station there. Now, notice when we came from the Battle of Paquime, that cluster there, to this saddle, there's no more bird track, footprints, nothing to tell us the story. So I think truly this story starts right up here where somebody wrote Sam on the rock, and it goes this way, south, and then it wraps around, just like the Hopi say, Tutuvini, they wrap around on themselves, come back on to wrap around on themselves, come back to where they started. Kind of like life, a circle. So the story comes around here. And then the north series starts at Sam and goes north, and they both join just south of the rest stop there. So I think that's the story you read. And then you somehow drop off that way, pick up the bird tracks that way, and then go into the Battle of Paquime, and then you read the bird tracks south of that, and it takes you into the Tullreed, place of the dead bear. And then it takes you into Paquime, the walk-in water well. And then it takes you right into Spider subcluster where you have Spider Clan attacking. I mean, with a shield and bows in one hand, a shield in one hand, and an arrow in the other, attacking Paquime. And that's where the story ends. So if you read this here, we're talking about 1,000 feet here, and then we're talking another 600 feet there. Then we're talking another 400 there. So that's 2,000 feet, almost half a mile of petroglyphs. And then we have to read the central series and then the south series. And then the bird tracks continue to the Tullreed, and that continues on